You're listening to the Peasinner Network. For more great podcasts, go to peasinner.com.au.
Spoiler alert. I mean, honestly, if you listen to this podcast, spoilers.
Spoilers.
The Rani starts doing a really convincing, like... and she's like, oh, I need my tablets. And the Master's just like, I've seen it. She'll have a seizure.
Yeah, he's just immediately, yes, and.
Yeah. People of the universe, please attend carefully. The message which follows is of vital importance to you all.
Please try to keep up.
We present to you a case study of one of the most dangerous minds in the universe.
Brilliant.
A history of the lives and times of the renegade Time Lord known as the Master.
The Master. Call me Master.
And
The
listen,
choice is simple. Join us and continue listening, or face total annihilation.
Listen.
They are the Master, and you will obey them.
You will obey me.
Please attend carefully. Hello and welcome to Please Attend Carefully, the Doctor Who podcast about the most magisterial of malefactors. I'm Ciarán Moffatt.
I'm Amber Patrick.
And each episode, we bring you a chapter from the lives and times of the renegade Time Lord known universally as the Master. Today, we will be looking at The Mark of the Rani, a two-part TV story from 1985 written by Pip and Jane Baker. No relation to either Baker.
Related to each other, though.
Related to each other. I believe they're brother... I'm not sure if are they husband and wife or brother and sister?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, God. Great. Well done. We're a minute in. Now I need to look it up.
Oh, they're married. They're married.
They're
because
married?
they consulted with a scientist about this episode while hosting a dinner party at their house.
Yep,
So
okay. English husband and wife.
Yes.
Amber, tell us, what is it about?
It's 19th century England, and the greatest minds behind the Industrial Revolution are gathering. The Master has a keen interest in the meeting, hoping to take control and use these brilliant minds to conquer the Earth and the universe. Wouldn't it be a shame if not one, but two rival Time Lords got in his way?
Brilliant. Okay, so Mark of the Rani.
Directed by a woman,
Yes.
part written by a woman,
Yep.
starring a brand new woman.
Yes, Kate O'Mara. A brilliant performance from her. The Rani is an interesting character, and I'm sure as we go along, we'll get into a bit more of the history and also why there's very little future of the Rani.
But this is Anthony Ainley as the Tremas Master.
It is, and we've not talked about Tony Ainley since like episode 5.
Yeah,
So literally since last year.
long overdue.
Yeah, I know. Because I love his performance. I always love his performance. He's just so wonderful in the role. He's a wonderful little megalomaniac. Okay, so go into the plan.
Yep.
Because I want to talk about the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, the plan is a bunch of scientists are going to meet up to talk about the Industrial Revolution, and he wants to control them and then use them. But he's smarter than all of them. I don't get why he needs to do this.
yeah, so several things on this, right? So the first is, this is technically not really the Master's story, right? It's the Rani story. The Rani
Yeah.
already has a plan. The Master has sort of been following her for a while, but basically he's just sort of rocked up, found out what she's doing, and then he finds out that some of the greatest minds of the Industrial Revolution are going to be in one place, and he's just like, you know what? I could do something with this.
Yeah.
Like-
And then he drags the Doctor there by tampering with the Doctor's guidance or something in his TARDIS.
Yeah,
'Cause-
just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
But what I love about this, so this plan to get all the geniuses, genii, I don't know. I will admit it gets very, very little screen time. This
Yeah.
plan, like it stops straight away. But okay, her total indifference to this plan. The only other time the Rani ever appears in TV, The Time and the Rani, the sequel to this, which is Sylvester McCoy's first ever story. That's literally her fucking plan. she's just like, no, this is a terrible plan. I want nothing to do with it. You know what? Actually, that's not. She steals the Master's plan.
We've also got so it's a historical episode because we've also sort of got the Luddites going on around this story as well, and the Luddites are destroying machinery, and that allows the Ranis, like the people that she's driven to aggression, to blend in, and people just think they're Luddites, and there's a lot going on in this episode.
There's a lot going on. So yeah, like late 19th century, Industrial Revolution. George Stevenson is building contraptions in Newcastle, and interestingly, I would hazard a guess and say that the actors in this story haven't even seen a picture of Newcastle, let alone been there.
I did. I watched some of the extra features, and Janet Fielding was like, "Why is one of them doing a Michael Palin impersonation?" There's like one guy like really points and's like.
Which is funny because the Rani, when she first shows up, is doing a bit from The Life of Brian. My eyes are old and grizzled. My neck is knackered. My knees are buggered.
My legs are grey. My ears are gnarled. My eyes are old and bent. Come on! Silly person.
So yeah, the Master's pulled the Doctor and Perry down to pit.
Yep. So, just a bit of context, because we're gonna mention it a few times. Perry is dressed in the worst outfit ever for this,
which also miraculously changes between being in the TARDIS and being.
She puts a jacket on.
She does put a jacket on.
Puts a jacket on,
but a jacket with exactly the same sleeves.
Yes,
as the dress.
it's just yellow.
It's hideous.
Yes. So, Nicola Bryant said that a scene was cut completely. They didn't even film it. That was saying that the Doctor and Perry were about to go to the Crystal Palace.
Oh, yeah. No, so I did watch that deleted scene. There's very little about it.
That's why she's dressed that way. Nicola Bryant hated this dress. But I was like, so bold to go with a white dress for a story set in a pit town.
Yeah, they're literally standing in a slag heap, like all bits of old coal and everything. Yeah, also, that throughout this episode, there are all these random references, just like, hey, do you remember that Perry's a botany student? Not me neither.
No. She's got one scene where she's like, oh, we're worried about global warming in my time, and butterfly species are going extinct, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
This town, all the men are working down to mine, and then they come up, and then I don't know why I'm doing Yorkshire because I can't do Newcastle. They go for a bath. So the bathhouse is run by a washerwoman.
My note here said, imagine if that was Ainley.
Right. Even though Anthony Ainley, so he has already appeared in the story. He's a scarecrow on a hill.
For no reason.
Because you don't get to see, like, there's a picture of him taking off the scarecrow costume, but you don't actually see it in the episode.
No.
Just 1 minute he's a scarecrow, and then the next bit he's basically just holding a handful of straw.
Yeah, he's just in a field watching Perry and the Doctor walk along, and they're like, oh, there's no bird song. And they're like, oh, it must be that scarecrow.
Yeah, no scarecrow's that good.
And then you just see him sort of, it's not even him, it's a stunt person probably.
Yeah, it's just like a hat brim raises.
And then like jumps over a fence and giggles and runs away. And just like, what? I mean, when I first watched this, I didn't even realize that was him, because you got no context to
also
think it was him.
You mentioned that line, and yeah, I remember that one line. It's just like, oh, there's no bird song. That is never referenced again.
Nope.
We have no idea what fucked off all the birds.
No.
Yeah, I saw the scarecrow and I'm just like, what is this, Wurzel Gummidge? Which was a famous like English kids show about a scarecrow played by John Pertwee, and I was just like, could the Master be a fan of Wurzel Gummidge, because he loves kids shows? Like, I don't know how meta we're going.
Yeah, maybe. But I do like, because Sylvester McCoy said when I watched the special features, because they had a bit with Sylvester McCoy watching the episode, and he said, oh, Scarecrow, is that John?
Yeah. So the men from the pit go and have a bath, and this run by this old washerwoman, as I said, my eyes are old and bent. And then like they get gassed while they're getting ready for a... Yep. I love that they get handed white towels on their way in.
Yeah,
so
don't do that.
Like, immediately, just everything's covered in coal.
Yeah, a lot of white fabric in this town where there shouldn't be. And like, it's so ridiculous. Like the smoke that comes into the room, the gas, it's so thick that you can see it. Yeah, just billowing into the room. You may be wondering as well, this episode looks really good and there's a lot of location shooting. What happened was the BBC accidentally booked 2 crews for one shoot for a different production and realized, oh, we've double booked, crews. Does anyone need a crew? You can have them for free because we've just got them and they're paid for.
Yeah.
And John Nathan Taylor went, me, and got them instantly and was like, rewrite this script. We need more locations.
What would it have
Yeah,
looked like?
he was like, get everyone, we're going out there now. We're shooting for a week. We've got a whole week of a free crew. And what that meant is they actually had a new cameraman who Nicola Bryant described as burly. And he was able to hold the camera and do handheld shots, which wasn't something that Doctor Who did. But this guy could do it. So there are a lot of handheld camera work in this story. And a lot of location shooting because of this.
Yeah, including the shot of the Doctor on the gurney, which we'll get to. We'll get to.
But though apparently it did rain a lot that week, so they did have to return some of the shots to back inside like they were originally supposed to be. But this episode has way more outdoor work and way more extra work because they could afford to then get more extras because they weren't paying for the crew.
Yeah, I'm assuming the extras are playing the Luddites. For anyone who doesn't know, during the Industrial Revolution, there was a group of people who followed a man named Ludd. And basically they tore up machinery because they were scared that it was going to take their jobs, right? So automated mining equipment, like things like that were taking our jobs. It's the best I'm doing all episode, trust me. The mysterious thing that the Rani's doing that's making them all angry all the time is sort of as a cover because like the Luddites are breaking stuff. She's just like, oh, who'll notice a few more angry people.
It's a really good
it's a
plan.
It is a clever plan. I don't know why one of them just has like just a bit of fabric tied around his head for no apparent reason. Yeah, it's just a stylistic thing.
Can't you get it into your warped skull that there is nothing deliberate about it? The aggression is an unfortunate side effect.
Unfortunate? Fortuitous would be a more apposite epithet.
Call it what you will. I need the chemical. The only source is the human brain.
So yeah, men get gassed and taken away by I've written here her butch boys in gas masks. She likes a man scantily clad.
So the camera sort of like does an establishing shot. So we're outside the bathhouse.
Yeah.
And we see walk into frame Anthony Ainley. And he's sort of tossing aside the hat and some straw to...
Yeah.
They haven't done a great job. But anyway.
No, it felt like... And the thing is, I watched the deleted scenes and I felt like there probably should have been a deleted scene of him actually taking the stuff off. But, it wasn't... This is the problem with those 2 45-minute episodes.
Does he have a fake moustache in this episode? It is, right? His beard's real, but did he shave his moustache for something else? Or...
I mean, very possibly. But why would he? Because he was a hobby actor, right? Like he only really wanted to play the Master. It was the only role he ever really wanted to do. So I don't know why he would change.
It just, to me, I was like, I think it's peeling at one point on the side. I don't think that's his real moustache, which is a shame because he does have a real moustache plenty of times.
Yeah. But you have just written in block capitals, huge moustache.
And then he does some leering. He does a lot of leering in this. He's leering through a fence.
You don't actually get to see Anthony Ainley in on film camera very often because of course like in TV at that time was recorded on tape on videotape, whereas this is recorded on film. And so you've got these wonderful sort of like nicely lit shots of him like standing on the other side of a fence sort of
Did you watch the deleted scene where they were clearly like, all right, we're going to try and get as much leering through the fence as we can. Just go and we'll tell you when to stop. And it's just him like going up and down the fence and leering for like a good few minutes. And
I did not. That must just be on the Blu-ray. That's amazing.
It's just like no sound really, just him just leering through the fence. It was really funny.
And he comes up to the fence to a dog that has already like freaking out the Doctor and Perry.
Yeah,
and
it's guarding Perry and the Doctor. Yeah.
yeah. And guarding them in the sense of it's not letting them go.
Yeah.
But then, very unfortunately, this episode does not pass the does the dog die test. But we don't get to see I know he kills the dog, but we don't get to see the little figure of a dog.
We don't get to see any TCE miniatures, even though
They obviously didn't have the budget to make them.
Yeah, which is weird. It just looks like it just kills them. They're just gone.
But I mean, he's got his TCE. He's got his very, very phallic TCE. I mean, I like that model TCE because it like opens up like a flower at the end. Just shut up. Don't look at me like that.
Apparently, everyone thinks that it's the funniest prop, and they like always were giggling and laughing and poking each other with it. Apart from Anthony Ainley, who was a strict professional and like wasn't amused.
That disappoints me. I kind of want him to be, in on the dick jokes. That's a shame.
I do like Colin Baker said. He says, Anthony Ainley is a wonderful man. We only ever talked about two things, the Master and cricket.
Apparently he was very fond of cricket.
Yeah. He said that's the only thing that he ever wanted to speak about. We never went to the pub together. He was, all he wanted to do was be the Master. That was the one thing that you could be sure about that man.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
It's not unlike. I tend to get given the evil parts, although to look at me you'd think I was really quite a sort of who's for tennis sort of actor, wouldn't you? I think it's magic, really. That's the best word I can use. It's science fiction magic. And I love it. And I don't want to stop doing it.
So the Doctor and Perry, in the meantime, foiled some of these faux Luddites, the ones who were just angry. And the Master's just like, those people that stopped you, you know what, you should kill them. That's what you should do. They're trying to take your jobs. And so he starts trying to manipulate these men.
And he convinces them that the TARDIS is a machine that the Doctor used to take their jobs.
Yeah.
And so he basically tells them that they should murder the Doctor or destroy his machine.
Yep.
And then we get this scene where like the Luddites chase the Doctor to like over a pit.
Yeah,
and
so
he just stands in the background sort of like like giggling to himself as the Doctor hangs over a pit.
So, right, this is the thing, right? This is a 2-episode story, right? 2 45-minute episodes. That's clearly the episode 1 cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like him hanging over a pit, which is also very badly green screened with someone like falling in and going, ah!
Yeah, and Colin Baker broke his pinky finger.
Colin Baker broke his finger.
Because one of the
I
extras...
Can't even say it.
One of the extras smacks him with like a shovel or something, and he like twisted because he didn't realize that was going to happen, and he like snagged his little finger inside the chain. Yeah. Yeah. And meanwhile, the Master just standing to the side, just yeah. I've got a lot to say about the Master's role in the story that I guess we'll get to.
The Doctor is saved, and the Master goes to the bathhouse looking for whatever's going on there. The Rani's ripped off her mask and gone, ha ha ha. She's done a Master, basically. She's got like a rubber mask on.
Yeah,
and like
pulls it off.
A shawl. And she rips it off and she has perfect makeup underneath.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Perfect. Absolutely stunning. And like within 5 minutes, she's gotten rid of the dress and she's just wearing these like silver pants. Kate O'Mara. Okay.
Yeah, Kate O'Mara said that when she was dressed as the washerwoman, no one looked at her twice. Then the second she was just as like the Rani, men were fawning over her production staff, getting her everything she needed. She said it was quite annoying.
One thing I will say is whatever device the Master uses is only seen in that one scene, but his sonic works on wood.
Yes.
Because he's able to move the wooden door bar so that he can get into the bathhouse. So if the Master can do it, the Doctor is just being a... Ugh. Yeah, the Master gets in sort of, does his little Scooby-Doo, like on the tiptoes.
Yes, the novelization said, with the Doctor temporarily out of his malignant reach, the Master was exploring fresh avenues of mischief. Oh, yeah, there you go. Using his electronic magnet, he had slid the door bolt from the socket and stolen into the bathhouse. Intrigued, he watched as the muscular humans humped the next donor through the parted wall.
Oh,
now...
we shouldn't laugh. We shouldn't.
He was watching them what?
He was watching them what? Yeah.
They're humping donors in there. Don't worry about it.
And they're wearing the obviously like evil henchman to a woman outfit, which is like a no shirt but waistcoat.
Yeah.
And she's feeding them blue maggots.
As your note says.
Yes, blue maggots, lovely. Which I love, like the camera work in this scene where she puts her finger into the tin, grabs a maggot, pulls her hand out of shot, and obviously drops it, and then grabs like a Tic Tac, and then puts that in the mouth. Like it's clearly something completely different going into the mouth.
I really like the effect of the master appearing in the reflection of the vial. It just I know what they wanted to do, but it just looks silly.
So here we meet we meet the Rani. So the Rani is another renegade Time Lord who has been exiled from Gallifrey. Which I love your note here. Gallifrey, stop exiling these people. Lock them up.
That gets said later, I think.
Is it like the doctor says
Yeah.
or something? It's
Yeah,
just
they
like,
should never have exiled you. They should have thrown you in prison. And like,
no,
yes!
thrown her in a padded cell.
That's right. And it's like, yes!
Yeah.
Yes!
You people need to stop this. Mind you, I mean, look, when they put the 11 in a cell, he was out within like a year. So, Gallifrey just can't be trusted at this point. Maybe fix the education system. Stop producing these people. But yeah, so she is a renegade Time Lord. She's different to the Doctor and the Master in that she is very scientific. The way the sort of early Master is portrayed, I mean by early, I mean like the Inventor Master and like Milo Parker's young Master.
Yeah.
She is scientific but without any scruples, right? Like she is she's performing human testing. She doesn't care. Like she has, mind you, it's a sort of perspective thing, right? She's just like, humans eat like cows and sheep, and what's different? I'm a higher species than them, so what's wrong with it? And
she doesn't really have conquest as her goal.
No.
She's in this for scientific endeavor. She's just pushing scientific exploration as far as she can.
Well, she does already own her own planet.
Yes.
As the Master says, it's just like, what happened to your planet? She's like, there were a few problems, but
I do like that when he's in there, she's kind of like, oh, no.
There is so... I've actually written a note. There is so much sardonic sighing in this whole episode.
I do like when he's like, do you know why I'm here? And she's like, yes, I know why you're here. I saw the Doctor. And I was like, she knows. She knows. And then she says, you're a well-matched pair of pests. She knows 100%. She's on them.
Absolutely. So again, Rani, obviously, because renegade Time Lords need to have a name to be cool. The Rani is Sanskrit for queen. She's mildly irritated by the Master. She's not angry. She's just like, ugh. I've written, it's like a coworker walking up to her desk, like the really annoying boss walking up to your cubicle and being like, hey. And he behaves like a bully. Her. He's just like, oh, you want this? You want this?
Yeah, he steals the vial that she's been, of chemicals that she's been extracting from people.
Yeah, and he has total control over the situation. And like, as I said before, like this whole situation is not of his making. Like he has not put in a grand plan. He literally just walks in, sees the angles and goes, this is what we'll do.
Yeah, I think that it's this weird triangle of like rock, paper, scissors where the Master beats the Rani and the Rani beats the Doctor and the Doctor beats the Master.
Yeah.
And because they're all here in this episode together,
it sort of cancels each other out.
Yeah, none of them can get a foothold because one of the others comes along. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that the Master tries to flatter her. Like he's genuinely impressed by what she does. She is extracting...
He's mugging again, right?
He's mugging again, yeah. She's extracting this sort of... like, I think we can assume it's like sleep chemical... what do you call it? I take the tablets because I can't sleep. Editor's note. The thing I'm trying to remember here is the hormone melatonin, which is produced in the pineal gland in your brain. You need it to sleep. If you have trouble sleeping, you can buy it in tablet or gummy form. I don't know. I'm not your mum. You probably shouldn't take it for longer than 3 months. Go talk to a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Back to the show. But yeah, this stuff that like stops your brain from sleeping. So basically, everyone is super tired and cranky, and that's why they're going around destroying things and looking like Luddites. But she's just trying to extract this sleep chemical from their brains, which leaves like a little red suction marks on either side of their neck, which the Master says, the mark of the Rani. He says it twice in the story. And
both episodes, I think.
Yeah, and you can like you see like in the notes I wrote, I'm just like, he said it. He said it again.
I do like when he like leans in and like jiggles the connection on the guy's neck, like the cord.
Yeah.
And she's like, get away from that. And he's just being annoying.
Again, in a sort of very Doctor Who-y way of like it, padding out time. They leave they leave the bathhouse, and then not long after the Doctor gets taken by the bathhouse, and then they're back in there again.
Yeah, and we have Perry meet the Master, and
but he was dead. No.
Yes, meet Papa Gilliam Brown.
Yes, his performance is wonderful. And then
is it?
You don't like his performance?
I guess I'll bring it up here.
Come on.
I think this is quite a weak showing from him. I was really there's a lot going on, and I think I know why.
Yeah.
But I thought that this was him at his worst. I think this might be the worst Ainley episode.
Okay.
I feel like, I mean, it's been a long time since I've watched the King's Demons. I can't remember. I know that's not a very popular episode, but this one just felt very flat. And I think it's because apparently he wasn't happy that he got put in this story.
Yeah. Because
he felt that he was playing second fiddle to Kate O'Mara's Rani.
Well, he basically is.
And he is. And I think that's the thing, is that Kate O'Mara said that he was wonderfully welcoming to her and, he was
and still
pleasant.
A gentleman.
But it was clear to everyone that he was not happy that this was going on, and that this either should have been his story or her story, and not both.
Yeah.
Because
And it should be said that after this story, we see him again briefly in a Matrix window in Trial of a Time Lord, and then not again until Survival, the final story.
Yeah, Colin Baker said that obviously because Anthony Ainley loved acting this role as a hobby, he didn't need to do it. And he loved being the Master so much, and at this point he wasn't getting many chances to do it. So the fact that this is one of the times he's showing up and he's not really getting to be the spotlight of it all, it was upsetting to him.
Yeah.
And yeah, apparently there was also an air of like a younger, beautiful woman coming in to play a renegade Time Lord. And I guess there might have been doubt around, am I being replaced?
Yeah.
So I can see with that context why I think his performance is a little flat, because he isn't, getting to do everything he probably wants to be doing.
Yeah.
But he is still there and doing it. But yeah, I like some parts of this, but other times I feel it's best when he's with the others doing the back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
The constant standing behind a fence or standing off to the side and watching what's going on. Like, he doesn't just really get given much to do.
No.
And also, I suppose the Doctor is different now. You've got a very arrogant, swaggery Doctor, and then you've got this new calm, cool female like scientist. Then where does that leave you with your character?
Yeah, because his character hasn't changed.
Yeah, where do you then fit in between those two now? And suddenly you've got to learn a new Doctor and another new Time Lord. Yeah, I think this was probably a hard one for him.
I think it's probably also quite difficult. I see what you're saying, and I think it's probably also quite hard because when you look at any of the interactions between the Doctor and the Rani regarding the Master, it is all, oh God, him again. Like that,
Yeah.
it is really hammered home that the Doctor and the Rani are they see him as an annoyance. Like he's not a threat. There's also a great line from Kate O'Mara's Rani where she says, "What's he up to now? Probably something devious and complicated." Mwah.
Yeah.
I've also written here the Rani knows that the Doctor can't see that him and the Master are the same.
I don't know when that line was, but it's an interesting point. She did say they're a pair of pests.
I think it's but when the doctor's just like, ugh, the master, and he's like trying to be all sort of, ugh. It's like when you're
Yeah.
like in a workplace and there's someone bitching about another, like like another coworker, and they're just like, ugh, they're the worst. It's just like, Tim, you are the worst too. Like that sort of. Also, the master gets called the Prince of Darkness by the doctor, which is quite nice. I mean, I'm really going into the gutter here.
I do like the Prince of Darkness thing because it's just like, what stupid name could I call? Oh, Prince of Darkness.
The master is carrying around the vial of brain fluid, which
He's using that as leverage over her. Like, do as I say. You're going to work with me because I've got the vial.
Because you only get like a tiny, tiny drop out of each person.
Yeah.
I have written here because I've descended into the gutter. Tiny vial of cum. Because that's what it looks like. Okay. And
just
also,
gonna move on. You're not going to defend it.
no. I just thought I'm throwing that out there. Just like, and like the master keeps pulling it out of his shirt and being like, "Look what I've got it between my hearts."
There's something getting. Don't put that in.
Oh, okay. This is fun. It's going down well. I like it. Okay. I've also written here styrofoam TARDIS down a well.
Yeah, because in the background, the Luddites, following what the master has asked them to do, have got the TARDIS onto a wagon. How much does it weigh?
Its weight is plot device.
Okay.
It has been shown to be plot device.
Yeah, they get it up on a wagon and they throw it into the pit. And Callum, as we were watching this together, just went, "Bye, Sutek."
The doctor's in this gurney. Perry manages to like get him out, and then he's on this gurney, and it starts going down a hill.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, the instigating thing for this is that we see the TARDIS go down the pit, and the master's like, yes, it's all coming together. And the doctor's like, oh, it's a shame that that's not what's happening out there. It's all fake. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, that magical crystal ball that she has that shows you things, it's linked telepathically to you and it shows you what you want to see. And he's just coming up with shit. Yeah.
He's doing the master, right? He's doing the master.
But Anthony Ainley, the master's like, what? Is she? And he falls for it. Like,
he's in your head, boy.
Yeah, like he fails. He's like, no, he just like falls for it, and he basically then lets Perry start wheeling the doctor out because he's like, "Come on, we're gonna go." Like, where are you taking him?
Why? Okay,
where are you gonna go with him?
So starts wheeling him out, and then of course he starts going down a hill, which is hilarious. Why does the doctor's bed have subwoofers on it? Like, did you see it? Like, as it was actually, it's like got like speakers on it. I'm just like, as it's going down the hill, going. Doo, 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 doo.
There's a man inside driving it.
Yeah.
He's
my God,
he's
really?
laying on his stomach with the at the front, and he's got a little steering wheel, and he's driving it from inside.
I love that the doctor's just like, oh my God, I'm going down to the bottom of the hill, and then he gets caught by the people. He's like, oh thank God, and then they take him off and they put him on a minecart.
Yeah, why are we going from thing to thing? Anyway, yeah, and then they push him and he's heading towards the pit. And
yeah, those handheld shots, or at least the shots where they've obviously like strapped the camera to Colin Baker as he's going downhill going, Colin Baker is strapped down a lot in this episode. Like he's tied up, strapped down, held against his will.
And there's a lot of TCE suspicious shape pointing at one another, and there's a little vial of cum.
It's a little vial of cum. Please don't let that be the episode title. But yeah, so he's heading towards the open mine shaft, and the doctor is saved at the last second by George Stephenson, who is the man who invented the steam train and one of the fathers of the the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
And he plays a nerd, so of course he's got to have he's got to have that scene where it's just like, oh, I'll untie you in a minute once I've had a look at these strange buckles that are holding you down.
Yeah, we haven't talked too much about that entire side of it because we're focusing on the Master.
We are focusing on
but
the Master.
There's another whole plot we've just not even gone into.
There's a guy called Luke who's hot and gets turned into a tree.
That's the next scene is that the Master hypnotizes him.
Yes, and he uses like a pendulum.
Yeah.
He uses a pendulum and a maggot.
I don't know why he uses both.
Oh, I assume that he uses the pendulum to hypnotize him to stand still long enough to eat the maggot.
But he's a master of hypnotism, and then because he's stolen the Rani's maggots for controlling people.
Yeah.
But
because it's like a stronger, like a chemical control. They say because she's a chemist. Because the doctor says, "Oh, I knew it couldn't just be hypnotism. It had to be the mind of a master chemist."
Yeah, which is weird because we thought the Master's never had a problem controlling people, though.
Have we ever seen the Tremas Master hypnotizing people?
We've only done the 5 Doctors. So.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to think in my memory because not all. Like, I mean, canonically, from, say, a Big Finish point of view, only one of the 11's selves was a hypnotist, right?
Yeah.
So maybe not all of the Master are... Because you rarely see the Tremas Master saying, I am the Master and you will obey me.
Yeah. There's a lot of gadgets in this episode. There's
where's
that
he hiding them all?
Yeah, he's got the little pendulum, and he's got his TCE, and he's got that electric magnet.
Which worked on a wooden bit. Anyway, fine, whatever. I want you to swallow this very special sweetmeat.
No,
don't
say that. In the book, it describes the Master as tickling Luke's lips.
Oh.
So the point of hypnotizing Luke is that because all this stuff's going on, they wanted to cancel this great meeting of all the minds. So they're sending a letter to the people to say to cancel the meeting, but the Master stops Luke and hypnotizes him and takes the letter so they can't.
Yeah, you will destroy anyone who tries to stop this meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, so then he goes back to the Rani and he's like, okay, I've stopped them. They're not going to cancel the meeting. So we can keep going with my plan, our plan.
And she's just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm doing my own work. Will you please go back to your own cubicle?
He's like, come on, we can do it. We can take over the universe. And she's like, no, the Time Lords won't allow it. And I'm like, won't they?
They seem to not give a shit the rest of the time.
Yeah, like, do they give a shit about Earth? Why would they care? I guess maybe if it got to the whole universe, maybe they might try and stop the two of them. But it just seems like a weird thing for her to use as an excuse. But I guess she's just saying anything to get him out of there. They leave. Again, they just come in and out of this location. Yeah. So they just go
that's
down
right.
to the pit.
What's really weird about this scene, I think I can say at this point, is they go down to the pit so that she can use her remote control to bring the TARDIS down to the pit so that they can then get stuff and go to the Dell. And it's like, why did you not just take the stuff? Why did you have to go down to the pit? Why did you have to go to a third location to bring your TARDIS to the
TARDIS was in the bathhouse. Yeah,
just to show that your TARDIS has a remote control. That was the only bit of exposition in this whole thing. So yeah, they go down there and the Doctor and Perry sneak back into the bathhouse trying to get to the TARDIS, and there's a whole thing with mustard gas.
Yeah, don't breathe it in, Perry. And she is in the middle of like coughing and breathing, and you're like, it's too late. But anyway, they're fine. She gets gas masks from somewhere. Yep. Anyway, moving on.
Okay.
What happens is that the Doctor ends up inside the Rani's TARDIS,
which is gorgeous. Like for this is meant to be a single time set, right? Like, who paid for this?
Yeah.
Like, it is. Who designed it? It is gorgeous.
I love the spinning circles in the middle, like that touch on the rims.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they're literally just attached, right?
Yeah,
they're just attached, but as they spin, it looks like they're moving. And it still has a time rotor as well that goes up and down.
And it's got all these like dinosaurs in
little pickle jars.
Yeah.
Well, not little pickle jars, quite large pickle jars.
And it's all black and silver,
but it's still got like the unmistakable like circular patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got a unique console.
Yeah, it's sort of round, but it looks like, obviously they say like her TARDIS is much more advanced than the Master's or the Doctor's. I mean, at this point, like the Doctor's TARDIS is, own brand of like white infinity, and the Master's just like, I'm going to do exactly the same, but all black.
The Master and the Rani have got down to the pit and they hit the remote control button to call the TARDIS to them, and the Doctor gets taken for a ride with the TARDIS.
Yeah.
And the Master is going on about, I think, like, the Doctor is going to stop us, and she says, you contrived to get him here.
Yeah, like
you brought him to us. And is this where she knees him in the...
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and also, like, he's really sort of just before this, he's really sort of it's like, well done, you. It's just like, oh, you learned how to remote control a TARDIS.
Yeah,
well done.
He's so petty, and I love him when he does stuff like that.
But yeah, she does knee him in the nudges at one point.
I do love that this is where she completely throws away the washerwoman outfit to be revealed to be in this like gorgeous little like jacket, and that's like got this unique pattern on it, and she's in like the tight leather trousers with boots. And the authors, I love, in the book they wrote, even the Master spared her an admiring glance.
There's a bit where the Master goes down to pit and he gets into a fight, and I was just like, no, the expensive costume. The one that they spent so much money on for the 5 Doctors.
Yes, and he's crawling around on a set fighting some Luddites.
It's literally just, that was the last time he was in it.
Yeah, no. Planet of Fire.
Oh, Planet of Fire. Yeah. In which he wore a suit.
Oh, yes, of course. He did wear a suit in that.
Yeah.
Fascinating. But then anything connected with you would undoubtedly be fascinating, my dear Rani.
I thought that last mad scheme of yours had finished you for good.
You jest, of course. I'm indestructible. The whole universe knows that.
Is that so?
The Master and the Rani are getting mines, and they're putting them in the nice foresty dell, the glade.
Yes.
And like the Doctor turns up and just immediately takes control of the situation, just knocks the TCE.
Yeah, it's like in the last time when we did the Time Monster, where Benton had the gun and Delgado just sort of ran up to him and knocked it out of his hand. The Doctor just runs forward in this and just like, boop,
yep.
just knocks it out of his hand and picks it up and starts immediately like pointing it at him, which is obviously very funny.
Yes, obviously hilarious. And
the Rani does not look phased at all. Like, she just is like, nah. Whereas the Master looks terrified.
Yeah, the Master is like, this Master is always kind of terrified when he's not in control.
Yeah,
like he is constantly anxious. I feel like this Master must just be anxious. Like the second anything goes out of his control, he's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, that's why he's always mugging this particular one. But I do love it. It continues into my theory of the Rani beats the Doctor. And the Master beats the Rani. But yeah, and then like
I feel like you need to put this on Tumblr.
And the Doctor beats the Master, so the Master's terrified. She's not.
And Luke has brought Perry to the Dell, but Luke steps on a mine and turns into a tree.
Yeah,
and then
oh my god, the effect of him turning into the tree.
It's literally just an explosion and then a cut to a tree. Right?
Yeah, and it looks like he blew up.
I love that Perry goes to step forward and the tree saves her. Like literally a limb grabs
her.
It
looks like it's groping her.
Oh, God. And so the Rani has to lead Perry out through the minefield.
Yeah, he forces the Rani to sort of be like, where did you put those mines?
Yep.
And she's like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, well, you're going to know. And he's got the TCE. And he's like, go down there.
Yeah. And then
he's like, then she gets Perry out. And he's like, all right, I want both of you to get out of here. I don't want to see you back here.
Yeah.
Like, just shoo.
Yeah,
shoo out of here. And I'm like, what are you doing? Don't. I just love that, basically.
It's a catch and release program.
Yeah. Shoo. Get out of here, off of Earth.
You have actually written here, Doctor just threatening them with a dildo.
All the mines are still down in the Dell.
Yeah.
And the Doctor's like, he's got to go stop all the Luddites who are running towards the forest.
Yeah.
And he goes up to the Master, and without realizing what he's doing, it looks like he stops to like give him a little hug.
Oh.
Like he puts his hand around like the Master's waist a bit, and like stops for a second and looks at him, and I was like, "What's going on? You're just stopping for a hug?" I didn't realize he's pickpocketing him.
Yeah.
But there is just that little moment of him like holding his waist slightly.
Yeah.
But yeah, he pickpockets the Master and takes
the vial. He takes the
the
vial.
vial. Yeah, so he's taken the vial.
Yeah.
Disguised as being, and I love that the Master doesn't question.
He's just like, that's a nice little hug.
A nice little hug.
Oh, lovely.
Why do you do that? I don't know.
And so the Doctor gets grabbed by the Luddites, and they tie him to a pole.
Yeah, that's right. The Doctor's like, I've got to save these Luddites. So we'll do the bit. He's like, I've got to save these Luddites.
Here, Perry.
And no, Perry's like, I'll take the TCE. And she like grabs it from him and she's like, I won't be afraid to use it on him. She's like holding it at them.
This is a woman who has had enough.
Yeah, she's done. And so then the Master goes down to save these Luddites from all the mines.
Yeah, and they reward him by tying him to hog tying him to a pole, and then they walk him through the dell, and two of them immediately turn into trees. And so the Doctor is basically hung up between two trees. And at this point, we point out that is where the production team went for lunch.
Yes.
And they left Colin Baker tied to a pole.
Yeah, he said
in the middle of a wood.
They did take him down and leave him on the ground. And some dog walkers came past, and Colin was like, I'll let them bring it up. And they didn't. And then they just went on their way.
No, they wouldn't, would they? Oh, dear. And while this is happening,
obviously the Master and Rani are like, take Perry away.
Well, yeah.
No, she takes them away?
Yeah, she's like leading them back to the pit to try and get the TARDIS, like their TARDIS or the Doctor's TARDIS, because it got chucked down a pit.
Oh, no, because he's told them to leave, so she's like, all right, go.
Yeah, go. And then, oh my God, the Rani starts doing a really convincing, like... And she's like, oh, I need my tablets. And the Master's just like, I've seen it. She'll have a seizure.
Yeah, he's just immediately, yes, and.
Yeah. I like it's the sick inmate routine, right?
Yeah.
Quick, help him, he's dying.
And Perry's like, she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, all right, take your tablets and... But the fact that the Master immediately and he overdone, like he's so overacting in that scene, but it's perfect.
Yeah, like the Rani's got it, Master. She doesn't really need your help, but he's just like, I'm in on this as well. And he knocks Perry down and like grabs the TCE off of her.
Yeah.
And they run into the TARDIS. Perry falls down onto the floor of the mine
and is
in the white dress and is fine. That dress is fine. There is not a mark on it. Like, no, that thing's ruined for life.
Yeah. I also like the second they get into the TARDIS and things start going wrong because the Doctor played with the TARDIS while he was in there. Also, incidentally, the exterior of the TARDIS has lighting effects, which is fucking gorgeous. If this had been if they changed the Doctor's TARDIS to look like that, I would not have been mad. Anyway, but they're trying to fix it, and the Master like takes control. Is just like, get out of the way.
That's when she knackers him. Yeah.
What? No, his legs are so far apart when he's standing at the controls. It's like again. I'm going to bring this back to Blackadder. Like legs far apart.
I've written disaster gaze.
Yeah,
disaster gaze stuck at the end of the universe with a T-Rex.
It's so true. And
I love the effect of them getting like sucked towards the edge of the walls, and both Kate O'Mara and Anthony Ainley are like pretending that they're being like pulled back towards the wall, like
they're in like a centrifuge, right?
Yeah,
like they're in one of those show rides,
Gravitron rides.
Gravitron, yeah.
And then I like that. Yeah, the T-Rex thing falls off of its pedestal, and it keeps cutting back to the T-Rex, but you're not quite sure if it's meant to be.
It is because like
it's
there's
growing.
There's a time spillage. It's slowly getting bigger. So they're trapped in a TARDIS that is going to the end of the universe, or like the edge of the universe, not like time wise, but like space wise. It's going to the edge of the universe with a T-Rex that is growing in the TARDIS. So how will they get out of this one, folks?
I would love the idea that the second they land, it's an external shot of it landing. The doors open and he's booted out, and the doors snap shut.
Out. Get out.
Does that mean that his TARDIS is on Earth?
Must be.
There's just a TARDIS on Earth of his that's...
Maybe she boots him out onto the cheetah planet.
Oh, maybe, because that's his next episode, right?
Yeah. Maybe.
Ooh.
Law.
All right, Ciarán, were you attending carefully?
I think I was this time, but that's a big call.
And at least you watched it last night and not like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
This
right.
is sometimes the case.
Ugh.
All right, what does the Master call the pit?
No idea.
A miserable dump.
A miserable dump.
It's not meant to be nice.
Yeah,
Like,
no. Just
This is a miserable...
hang some curtains.
I like this sort of ongoing idea that the Master, like, as we've seen with like children's TV, doesn't know sometimes what things are.
Yeah.
And it'd just be like, it's a bit of a dump in here. It's a coal mine. What yet? What does the Master say that the Doctor won't tolerate?
Shenanigans. Oh, I really thought I was doing well.
He says it to the Rani when they talk about their plans.
Won't tolerate anything to do with the Earth. Won't tolerate any killing of humans. No.
Yeah, but basically,
Oh, okay.
someone deliberately playing havoc with his favorite planet.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Playing havoc. I liked that. What does the Master promise to give the Rani in return for her help?
The file that he's just taken from her.
Grander than that.
Half the universe. This planet. No.
Her own processing laboratories for all of her work.
Oh, okay.
He says you can have hundreds, thousands, millions of them. And she's like, I could have those.
I could
Be
have
nice.
those.
What trait does the Doctor say the Master and the Rani share?
Unscrupulousness. Arrogance.
Yes,
Hey, I
arrogant superiority.
Hooray! I got one.
Oh, two.
Oh, two.
I think.
Yeah. You know what? I just realized the things that I noticed that if we were doing a Doctor Who podcast would have been Were You Attending Carefully, but we're not. We're doing a Master podcast. So I will ask you, this is Doctor Who related, so it's not for anything. How many times does the Doctor, how many Shakespeare plays does the Doctor quote?
Oh. No, I wasn't paying attention.
In the entire course of the story, he quotes 3 Shakespeare
Wow,
plays.
I wasn't paying attention to anything like that at all.
Yeah, no. He quotes Julius Caesar, Henry IV, and Hamlet. Yeah, it really, honestly, is quite heavy-handed. Actually, this is one I thought you would tell. Right, what tree does the Doctor say the Master would turn into if he trod on a mine?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember, but I do remember him saying, but I don't remember what it was.
It's a laburnum tree because the pods are poisonous.
Yeah.
Who was the painter who painted the screen that hid the Rani's TARDIS?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember.
It was Turner.
Yep.
Again, I'd like you have a devious mind. Or I could just be paying more attention when I'm watching.
It's almost hard for questions, I felt personally, because it's not his overall plan. And it's, so this episode, I guess this can go here.
Yeah, that's fine.
One thing that all the people said about this particular episode and script or anything written by these writers is the words.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that very true when I read the novelization of this, was that they use very specific words for things. And
he says piquancy at one point.
Yeah, and like he tickled the lips of it's just little tiny things.
I don't know why that gives me such a visceral reaction.
But
like every time you say it, I go, ugh.
It's just like words like that. So they were fun scripts because you got to say things you wouldn't normally say. So this was very, wordy. And there wasn't much like that the Master was doing that wasn't speaking. So, all the questions had to be sort of speaking related.
I mean, he was either speaking with, very wordy words, or he was just standing behind a fence going,
yeah. I still don't know why he was a scarecrow.
I mean, look, it's not a bad reveal. Like, I'll admit,
Yeah.
like, if you did it properly, it's not a bad reveal. But actually, it happening, you're a bit like, well, like the way
Yeah.
they did it just didn't really pan
Didn't
out.
land. I don't. Yeah, he could have just walked on to the set and it would have been fine.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm glad we got to do some more Ainley because I think he deserves more of an outing. Okay, so what did we learn?
So we learnt, I suppose, that I know I know you're not a huge fan of the Academy days, but we learned that I suppose is she from the Academy with them? Do we think that, or do we think she's a different? They seem very familiar with each other.
Yeah, I think they do mention at one point that they went to
I would be interested to know how contemporary they all like. Is the monk contemporary with them? That kind of thing. Like
well,
how many of
doesn't
them?
the doctor say at one point, or was it there's one audio I think where someone says, "Oh, the monk was the little kid who was always running behind everyone else, like trying to join in."
I think I said that when we did.
Oh, okay.
The Missy
I'm quoting
episode.
you. We've been doing this so long. I'm quoting you now.
I made that analogy when we listened, but I don't know if I pulled that from
Yeah.
that audio. If I just felt that that's the energy he gave off.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel like it does. Look,
Yeah.
they're obviously all contemporaries. I think.
Yeah. So we've learned that they have this other friend. So we've got the monk and we've got the Rani, and we've got the doctor and we've got the master.
There are so few that we know of renegade time lords that just sort of you're kind of all contemporaries anyway. Like,
Yeah. So we've learned that they've got this other person, this other renegade
yeah.
that they are aware of and scheme against, and are friendly enough and familiar enough that they can walk into a room and be like, "It's me, it's the master," and they're like, "Oh, I know who you are." Yeah, like so they're familiar with one another.
Was it the monk says in one story? It's just like, I've got a field spotter's guide for renegade time lords because you always want to make sure you know who you're running into.
The master presumably has a TARDIS stranded on Earth without him at the end of the story.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? Yeah, because we don't see him get there, and he clearly doesn't have a remote control for his TARDIS. So, yeah, I do like the image of like the end of the universe. The Rani's just like, get out, kicks him out the door.
He does have a TARDIS in the next TV story.
In Survival.
Daedric Column, is that not in Survival?
I
think it is.
Is it? I didn't think it was because I thought the way he traveled in Survival was via the cats, because the cats can move through time and space.
Oh, right.
And so he goes with that's one of the powers of the cheetah power. He can step through time and space, and how the kids keep getting taken to the cheetah planet. The black cats grab them and take them.
It would be really fascinating to see if that is what happens. He ends up on the cheetah planet after this story, and then that's how he gets back.
Yeah.
Because he ends up back at the cheetah planet at the end of that story. So is there just a master TARDIS somewhere on Earth still just
the master's TARDIS? Just, well, that's a great idea.
Just sitting there. That's
If I was a fanfic writer, I would write a story of like the TARDIS like tricking someone inside it, and then make them pilot it to the master. Yeah.
And then he's gadget heavy this episode.
Yet it doesn't spoil the lines of his suit.
Yes. No big chunky pockets.
Yeah, no, and like the magnet thing he's holding is actually quite large. It's like half the size of a tissue box, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's weird.
His TC looks like a sex aid. I didn't learn that. I mean, we kind of do.
We already knew that. You just need to look at it.
Oh.
It's also starting to, by the looks of it, it's starting to get on a bit, because there's a bit where he shoots it and he pushes it out and you can see the paint's worn off.
Yeah. Do you think he would have betrayed the Rani when he's like, we can work together? Do you think that how long that would last?
I think she'd put up, like with this story, she'd put up with him right up until the point where she knees him in the groin. I don't think they'd be able to work together. I don't think they'd be able to, like, she's a lone wolf. She's not working with anyone. Whereas the master will work with basically anyone so long as it helps him get where he needs
Yeah,
to go.
just one step ahead. That's all he needs with
Yep.
anyone. Yeah.
He is the definition of work smarter, not harder.
It's not really one that we learn too much because, again, as we discussed, this isn't really his episode.
Yeah.
He is playing second fiddle to the Rani in a production sense.
Yeah.
So it's not really a lore heavy one for him.
So if we were to do a podcast from the point of view of the Rani, which I absolutely do not advocate doing,
4 episodes.
basically, yeah, 5. I think it's 5 episodes. I don't advocate that, but if we would look at it from her point of view, it is basically the story of her with a plan, and it's going fine until those two turn up. And they've got their own shit going on. And she's just like, why will they not just play with each other instead of trying to involve me in all of this?
I want a Monk and Rani episode
Oh,
where they just see each other and then just turn around and walk the other way.
Or they sit they sit down. It's like, how are you? Yeah, all right. Seen it? You dealt with them lately? Ugh, I had the doctor last week. Yeah, I had the master. Ugh.
Have they figured out they're in love yet? No.
It can have no relevance to you or your machinations.
Ah, but then as yet you've not been apprised of my purpose in being here.
To destroy the Doctor. You've never had any other. It obsesses you to the exclusion of all else.
You underestimate me. Certainly I want to destroy him, see him suffer. But that is just an exquisite first step. I have a greater concept. One that will encompass the whole human race.
You're unbalanced. No wonder the Doctor always outwits you.
All right. That's it. That's all for this episode of Please Attend Carefully. Thank you so much for listening. We hope that with each new installment, you come to understand, appreciate, and maybe even obey the Master. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to be updated on new episodes. We'd also love to hear from you. And how can listeners get in contact with us?
You can email pleaseattendcarefully@gmail.com, send an ask on Tumblr at pleaseattendcarefully, or follow the Instagram at pleaseattendcarefully.
That's right. I've been Ciarán.
And I've been Amber. Until next time.
We hope you'll be tuning in. After all, it can't hurt you to listen, can it? Final editor's note. I am aware my Anthony Ainley impression needs work. I'll get right on it.